Tonight, breaking news, ABC News talking to President Trump about Elon Musk amid their explosive feud. What the president told us about Musk. Also tonight, the severe storms and tornado threat right now, multiple states, the South, the Northeast, the scene at LaGuardia Airport in New York, and in Boston tonight, Lee Goldberg is here. First tonight, President Trump talking to ABC News about Elon Musk, saying Musk has lost his mind. What the president revealed and what the president said just moments ago about whether he has any plans to talk to Musk. Jon Karl standing by. Also, as we come on the air tonight, the tornado and flood threats. Reported tornadoes already in multiple states. Storms moving into the Northeast. In Boston, giant trees coming down. And the images coming in at this hour from LaGuardia Airport. Planes backed up as far as you can see. The ground stops. The storms tonight and right into the weekend. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast. ABC News, the first to report late today, deported migrant Kilmar Abrego Garcia is now back on U.S. soil, returned from El Salvador, months after the White House acknowledged it was an administrative error to deport him. But the return comes with a major turn in this case, the charges he's now facing here in the U.S. Russia attacking Ukraine, saying it's retaliation for those Ukrainian drones that struck deep inside Russia. Martha Raddatz is in Ukraine tonight as the missiles come down, and tonight her exclusive interview with President Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy revealing it was Russian drivers who unknowingly drove those drones deep into Russia. And what else he told Martha. Tonight, the American passenger describing the horror as tourists are trapped on a crowded ferry that capsized. The tour boat flooding with water, passengers jumping for their lives, smashing windows to get out. There is breaking news at this hour. Back in the U.S., the former sheriff, a convicted murderer on the run, who escaped in a makeshift uniform, and where they have just found him, what we've learned. Also, the fugitive father, who authorities say killed his 3 young daughters. Tonight, the hunt for him widening, and what they're now telling members of the community. Overseas tonight, the American heroes in Normandy. We remember D-Day, and we remember what they told us on the beaches of Normandy, and our promise. And hanging by a thread, he's been performing his own death-defying stunts for years. Tonight, Tom Cruise just setting a new world record. You'll see it right here.
3, 2, 1, go!
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Friday night. We'll get to these storms, the tornado threat, and that scene at LaGuardia Airport here in New York City, and images of the storms hitting Boston, all of it in a moment here. Lee, of course, has the forecast. But we do begin tonight with President Trump talking to ABC News about Elon Musk. Tonight, President Trump telling our Jon Karl that Musk, quote, has lost his mind. And what the president said just moments ago about whether he has any plans to talk with Musk. ABC's chief Washington correspondent Jon Karl leading us off after talking with the president about Musk amid this explosive feud between the two men.
A day after his explosive breakup with Elon Musk, President Trump told me Musk is, quote, the man who has lost his mind, adding that Musk wants to talk to him, but he's, quote, not particularly interested in talking to Musk right now. And just moments ago, ABC's Rachel Scott asking Trump about Musk.
Do you have any plans to speak with Mr. Musk? This was one of your closest advisors.
No, I don't have any plans.
Sources close to the president tell me Trump is telling people that Musk's outburst happened because he's using drugs. I asked Trump about that, but he wouldn't comment on the record. The president later told CNN about Musk, quote, he's got a problem. The poor guy's got a problem. This after yesterday's spectacle, which began when Trump in the Oval Office reacted to Musk's escalating attacks on his budget bill, which Musk has called a, quote, disgusting abomination.
I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Musk was watching, and while Trump was still speaking, he fired back, posting, without me, Trump would have lost the election. Such ingratitude. Trump responded on his own social media, suggesting Musk was just another disgruntled former employee, saying, quote, Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. He also threatened to cut Musk's $20 billion in government contracts. Musk went nuclear, suggesting Trump should be impeached, and then going even further, linking Trump and notorious sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein. Time to drop the really big bomb, Musk posted on X. Real Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. That explosive accusation caught everyone by surprise. FBI Director Kash Patel hearing what Musk had said while he was in the middle of an interview with podcaster Joe Rogan.
Jesus Christ, that's a crazy thing to say. How does he know? Does he know that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files? Or does he have access to the Epstein files?
I don't know how he would, but I'm just staying out of the Trump-Elon thing. That's way outside my lane.
What the are they doing?
I know my lane, and that ain't it.
But overnight, it seemed like both Musk and the president were trying to tone things down. When one of Trump's top supporters posted, "They should make peace for the benefit of our great country. We are much stronger together than apart," Musk responded, "You're not wrong." And sources tell ABC News that the White House is considering either selling or giving away that red Tesla Model S that Trump bought with some fanfare back in March as a show of support for Elon Musk. Trump was just asked about this on Air Force One, and he said he hasn't really thought about it.
Jon Karl and the conversation. John, thank you. We turn now to the severe storms on the move tonight from Texas, really all the way up into the Northeast. In fact, look at the images from LaGuardia Airport in New York City tonight. Ground stops at multiple airports across the Northeast. At LaGuardia, the line of planes as far as you can see, the delays mounting amid multiple ground stops and these storms moving in. Near Lubbock, Texas, a tornado bearing down on a home, but somehow that home was spared. This one also near Lubbock, more than 24 reported tornadoes in just the past 24 hours. In Van Buren, Arkansas, a tornado striking this neighborhood, damaging more than 50 homes. And today, in Massachusetts, storms reaching into the Northeast, giant trees coming down onto cars and homes in South Boston. Lee Goldberg standing by with the forecast, and Maria Villarreal in Texas tonight.
Tonight, more than 35 million on alert for severe storms. Tornado sirens sounding in Van Buren, Arkansas just after dawn. Sheet metal flying off this warehouse. Authorities in Van Buren say at least 50 structures were hit.
How's your place?
It's gone. Everything's gone.
Families in shock.
I just heard a big noise. My window cracked. A tree fell in the window. Man, it was this close to my bed.
Overnight, multiple tornadoes reported in New Mexico and West Texas. This powerful twister churning near Lubbock. Storm chasers Simon Brewer and Justin Drake getting up close.
Oh my gosh, man!
Storms also dumped torrential rain that swamped drivers in shallow water Texas. Lightning likely to blame for these massive oil storage tanks erupting in flames southeast of Oklahoma City. And an early round of storms in the Boston area taking down trees. Planes stacked up at New York's LaGuardia Airport. More than 100 flights canceled there alone as the Northeast is under threat again tonight.
And David, you can see the damage left behind by those storms. Straight line winds hitting this building, knocking it all over. Families tell me right now they are very concerned about the weather that is expected to hit over the next few days. We're talking about hail, more rain, and now this entire area, Lubbock, they are under a tornado watch. David?
Yeah, all over again. Maria, thank you. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Lee Goldberg of our New York station, WABC, back with us tonight. Hi, Lee.
Hi, David. Severe thunderstorm warning in the Lubbock area right now. We can't get a break in this area. There's a tornado warning in the Oklahoma Panhandle. The watches extend to eastern Colorado. There's another tornado watch, western Kentucky, western Tennessee. We've had severe storms in New England, showers in the Hudson Valley. We've been tracking storms here in the New York area. Let's time this out. Showers and storms, waves of them will go through the Northeast during the day tomorrow. They'll be offshore in the evening, and then our focus turns to the south. I mean, we have a severe threat all the way from Texas and Oklahoma to the East Coast. Some of the strongest storms, an enhanced threat for damaging winds over Mississippi and Alabama. By Sunday, you're talking about a threat that's on the East Coast from Virginia Beach to Savannah, and a renewed threat once again over the Texas Panhandle. They can't get away from the storms. David?
Lee Goldberg back with us on a Friday night. Thank you, Lee. Tonight, ABC News, the first to report that deported migrant Kilmar Abrego Garcia is now back on U.S. soil, returned from El Salvador months after the White House acknowledged it was an administrative error to deport him in the first place. But the return tonight comes with a major twist in this case, the charges he now faces here in the U.S. Here's Pierre Thomas.
Tonight, ABC News first to report Kilmar Abrego Garcia, who the White House initially said was mistakenly deported to El Salvador, is now back on American soil. A dramatic turn in an ongoing political firestorm. The government of El Salvador sending him back today after an arrest warrant was issued here in the U.S.
The man has a horrible past, and I could see a decision being made. Bring him back, show everybody how horrible this guy is.
That warrant connected to this 2022 traffic stop in Tennessee. Abrego Garcia driving an SUV with 9 other people inside.
How many rolls have you got in here? 4?
troopers at the scene suspicious.
He's hauling these people for money. You got an collar is what he's doing. But.
And tonight, a DOJ indictment accusing Abrego Garcia of being part of a human smuggling operation that transported drugs, weapons, and thousands of undocumented migrants, including MS-13 gang members and children across the country.
He made over 100 trips, the grand jury found, smuggling people throughout our country.
Tonight, Abrego Garcia's lawyers blasting the government's actions.
They'll stop at nothing at all, even some of the most preposterous charges imaginable, just to avoid admitting that they made a mistake, which is what everyone knows happened in this case.
Abrego Garcia's return coming almost 2 months after the Supreme Court unanimously ruled that his removal to El Salvador was, quote, illegal, and ordered the Trump administration to facilitate his return. Tonight, DOJ filing notice in federal court saying it believes it has complied with a judge's order to return Abrego Garcia here to the U.S. and that the case should be dismissed, David.
Pierre Thomas in Washington. Pierre, thank you. We turn now to the war in Ukraine. Martha Raddatz is there as Russia now attacks Ukraine. Russia saying it's retaliation for those Ukrainian drones. Tonight, Martha's exclusive interview with President Zelenskyy. Zelenskyy revealing it was actually Russian drivers who unknowingly drove those Ukrainian drones deep inside Russia. Martha Raddatz tonight and her exclusive interview from Kyiv as those Russian missiles came down overnight.
Tonight, Ukraine reeling from a deadly and terrifying barrage. Nearly 500 Russian missiles and drones raining down on Ukraine. Russia says this is retaliation for that stunning Ukrainian attack, those Ukrainian drones that flew deep inside Russia and set Russian military planes on fire. Now, Russian missiles slamming this neighborhood in video circulating online. And outside Kyiv, where we are, explosions as Russia's fury is felt here. Ukraine's national athletics team taking cover as bombs fell around them. We took shelter during a relentless 4-hour-long assault here, our team in the bunker, as Russia targeted nearly every corner of Ukraine. More than 50 people have been killed or wounded in these attacks. And tonight, with his country under attack, my exclusive interview with President Zelenskyy.
Yes, quite a night. Thank you for coming. Yeah, difficult night.
We ask about that brazen drone attack on Russia. Drones launching out of containers atop trucks, soaring toward their targets, setting multiple Russian warplanes, including nuclear-capable bombers, on fire. Zelenskyy telling me it took 1.5 years to plan, then making this stunning revelation, saying the Russians themselves unknowingly delivered those drones to their locations.
You had Russian drivers who had no idea.
They didn't know.
They didn't
The drivers didn't know what they do. Yeah, they just did their job.
And 3 years into this bloody war, we asked the Ukrainian leader to respond to this comment from President Trump, comparing it to 2 children fighting in the park.
Sometimes you see 2 young children fighting like crazy. They hate each other and they're fighting in a park. And you try and pull them apart. They don't want to be pulled. Sometimes you're better off letting them fight for a while and then pulling them apart.
Do you think the president is getting that message when he says things like it's 2 children fighting?
A президент. Це не відносно президента Трампа.
It's not about President Trump, Zelenskyy told me. It's really about any person who is thousands of miles away and cannot fully feel and understand this pain, adding, we are not kids with Putin at the playground. He is a murderer who came to this park to kill the kids. And David, President Zelenskyy telling me he does not believe that Putin wants peace and is urging President Trump and world leaders to put much stronger sanctions on Russia. Meanwhile, here in Ukraine, those intense Russian bombings continue. David?
Martha Raddatz in Ukraine for us tonight. Martha, thank you. She'll be in Kyiv, and more of her interview with President Zelenskyy and her reporting Sunday morning right here on ABC's This Week. We'll be watching, Martha. Thanks. Back here in the U.S. tonight, there is breaking news. Authorities say an escaped killer, a former police chief, is now back in custody in Stone County, Arkansas tonight. He's known as the Devil in the Ozarks. Grant Hardin was recaptured this afternoon about 1.5 miles from the prison grounds. He was on the run for 12 days. Prison officials say he wore a law enforcement-style uniform to get past guards to make his escape. Now back in custody tonight. Now to the American passenger describing the horror after tourists were trapped on a crowded ferry, the tour boat flooding with water, passengers jumping for their lives, smashing windows to get out. Here's Britt Clennett.
Tonight, an American tourist speaking out after surviving this horrific ferry sinking off the coast of Bali. 24-year-old Lauren Daig was on the trip of a lifetime celebrating her birthday when the ferry was suddenly hit by a large wave.
Everyone was screaming bloody murder and get out, because they were saying go, go, go at the front, but they had nowhere to go.
89 passengers and 5 crew on board, the ship taking on water, beginning to tilt.
Break the window, break the window.
Lauren kicking the window, breaking the glass to escape. Passengers desperately clinging to the overturned ferry, being pummeled by waves.
People were just throwing themselves, just jumping across to the other boat.
All survived, according to Indonesian authorities, who sent in divers to ensure no one was trapped.
And David, that passenger, Lauren, saying that among those scrambling to escape were people with babies and old people. David.
Just extraordinary, Britt. Thank you. When we come back tonight, word coming in, the school shooting that authorities say they foiled. It was planned for a high school graduation. More in a moment. Also news on that fugitive father who authorities say killed his 3 young daughters, what they're now warning the community about. And he's been doing his own death-defying stunts for years. Tom Cruise setting a world record tonight. This is the movies. You'll see the real thing here in a moment. Tonight, authorities in Pontiac, Michigan say they have halted a plot to open fire at a high school graduation. Deputies called to the scene of a fight outside the graduation ceremony and then got a tip right there on the scene. A search revealing 2 loaded guns with high-capacity magazines. 2 suspects identified. A 19-year-old is under arrest. A 20-year-old remains on the run tonight. Neither were students at the school. Tonight, authorities issuing a new warning in their manhunt for a father accused of killing his 3 young daughters in rural Washington state. Police releasing a new image of Army veteran Travis Decker. The bodies of his daughters were found near a campground in Chelan County. Residents in the area tonight are now being urged to lock all doors, windows, and sheds. When we come back tonight, the American heroes returning to Normandy, and we'll go there too. And Tom Cruise jumping into the record books tonight, and you'll see it. To the Index, Tom Cruise landing in the Guinness Book of World Records tonight. This is for his new movie, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. He set a record for burning parachute jumps. He jumps from the helicopter, deploys the chute, then sets it on fire. And by the way, he did this 16 times. That's why he's Tom Cruise. When we come back here, the moving image in Normandy. You've got to see this tonight. The World War II hero and his one wish for everyone at home listening. What he told us in a moment. Finally tonight, the heroes of Normandy. The sunrise in Normandy today, 81 years after D-Day. American heroes gathering there to mark this day. The brave young men who would storm the beaches of Normandy and change the course of World War II and the world. It was 1 year ago, on the 80th anniversary, we promised to meet World War II heroes from the U.S., who we have been documenting for years on Utah Beach. And we'll never forget the moment we saw them. Gentlemen.
Hello.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you.
And we remember what they told us. Staff Sergeant Irving Locker. Irving, why was it so important for you to get back here?
It was so important for me to let people know that freedom is not free. I thank God every single day that I'm alive and well, and people have to know that. People have to know that.
Because many did not survive.
They did not survive.
Private First Class Jake Ruser. You believe that if people remember the sacrifices that were made here, that it might actually bring our country together back home?
I think they will. We're meeting people from all over the world. It's really something where they're remembering what happened 80 years ago here.
And it was just today we heard from Private First Class Jake Ruser and his family, telling us we need to remember and honor the bravery and sacrifices made by those who were there. And we remember the moment strangers gathered on that beach who saw us sitting with heroes.
Okay, yeah, the heroes. Thank you.
Thank you
for your
very
day.
much. Oh, thank you.
Those strangers lining up to say thank you. They are the heroes of Normandy, and we will never forget. Thank you for watching here this week. I'm David Muir. I'll see you Monday. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.